Social Underground, podcast number 3 or 4, I can't remember.
It's been a bit of a gap since we've last done one. We've both been away travelling, work's going well. I've just got back from Cologne, which went to Gamescom. If anyone's not heard of Gamescom before, it is the world's biggest gaming convention. There was 500,000 gamers in particularly interesting outfits.
More importantly, Angela Merkel shows up to a gaming conference, so that shows how big this thing is.
And she actually had a picture taken next to a game, which is going to be one of our direct competitors.
Okay.
So we're going up against the PR storm that is Angela Merkel.
Take her on.
We've
been there with the Germans before. We'll do it again. History will repeat itself in a good way.
So how have you been? How's it been? Social Chain UK.
Social Chain UK. Social Chain UK has had its best ever quarter in the business.
Congrats.
Yes, it's good, which means the challenge we have is we have too much work. So we're managing that. That's pushing everybody to their limits, but everybody's rising to the challenge. I think with any people business, being an agency, a people business means finding good people is your biggest challenge. Mm-hmm. Keeping people happy will always be your biggest challenge. Scaling with people is difficult, so we're sort of navigating those waters right now. But it's incredibly exciting. I'm really keen to sort of just have some celebration. We've got the bank holiday coming up, and everybody's worked so hard to get us here. Mm-hmm. And it sets us for sort of a record-breaking year, and sort of we're on track to over-deliver all expectation, which is what we need to be. So good stuff. But
there's a little something happening.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see.
Board behind.
The guy with the green eyes. Any clues?
He's doing nothing. That's my really bad attempt at Irish accent.
We're here to take over. We're here to take part. Terrible. But the biggest event, and we can say we are true McGregor fanboys. It's kind of embarrassing how much of fanboys we are. Like I don't generally get excited, even footballers. Seeing a footballer, I wouldn't like rush out the way to see them. There's a few actors I'd really sort of fanboy out over. Actors maybe, but musicians probably not. MMA fighters and elite boxers are the ones that I just fanboy out big time.
I think that it's that thing since the start of mankind. Two people fighting each other is the most intense form of sport going.
The baddest man on the planet.
The two baddest men, both undefeated standing up, boxing. But we're gonna go through a little idea of what we think will happen. Try and break down the two different elements of the fight. And we
need to caveat this: we are biased as shit.
We're very biased.
So anything we say, all 15 of you don't bet on what we say.
Yeah. Because
we're biased.
But you could win a lot of money if you do.
But you could, yeah. We're going with the underdog. So let's start, right? Biggest fight, a few things to lay out. This fight is going to break every single record financially. I looked this morning, like Yorkshire local news is talking about this fight. Every single news outlet, every single sports outlet is talking about this fight. It is the biggest thing, it's unprecedented. For me, everybody, so people who know nothing about boxing and people who know nothing about MMA all have an opinion on this, which is fine. The problem is everybody just is writing McGregor off. The mass majority of people that aren't really interested in the sport.
Boxing specialists as well.
Especially, but boxing's legacy is on the line. Like, this is a big thing for boxing, so I don't mind if boxing connoisseurs, people are passionate about boxing, disregard McGregor. I'm cool with that.
They're nervous, I think.
Of course they're nervous.
About what could happen.
This fight is unprecedented. Everything about it is wrong. Everything about it is unusual. So you can't expect the outcome of the fight to be usual, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's nothing normal about this fight, so why should the outcome of this fight be normal? That's where I stand on it, and that's where the optimist in me
Going into some stats around the fight. So, as a lot of people know, Mayweather's older. He's the older fighter at 40 years of age. He's not fought for an elongated period of time. I think it's 2 years, 2.5 years.
Nearly 3 years.
Nearly 3 years.
Brittle hands.
He's been well known for having brittle hands and having to ice his hands after each training session. He hasn't knocked anyone out really since Ricky Hatton. I know he knocked out Ortiz, but dubious referee call.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Doesn't really count. So it's Ricky Hatton, which is
7 years ago.
8 years ago. McGregor's the bigger man. So Mayweather will walk.
Bigger.
Yeah, Mayweather will walk around normally around 147 to 155, whereas McGregor will be 175 on the night.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the bigger man. He's got the bigger reach. He's taller. So yeah, they're just some of the. Have you got any stats you want to throw out there?
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna anything that I say right now is in Mayweather. Is in full respect of Mayweather being the greatest defensive boxer who has ever lived. He's had a 21-year career and he's barely been hit. He's largely not been hit. Some technical difficulties. Rather unprofessional of you. Alex,
sorry.
Wow.
We'll call back.
Wow. So, 21 years of undefeated. Should a person with 0 as a boxing record even be in the same ring? Probably not. Of course not. But what makes this fight special is Conor has done unprecedented things within the MMA world. Mm-hmm. He's defied all odds. Everything he said will happen, he has happened. And even when he's faced adversity in his only loss in the UFC to Nate Diaz, where he fought the bigger man,
Nate Diaz was 170 pounds,
probably 190 by the time he got in the cage.
Knocked him down still twice.
He leathered him, but Nate Diaz is one of the most durable fighters. In his entire career, he's a zombie, he's a walking zombie. He's only ever been knocked out once, and that was a fierce head kick that finished him. And that was a long, long time ago, early on in his career. So Nate Diaz, no one outboxes Nate Diaz. And Conor did it for so long, and then he wasn't efficient with his energy, and he gassed, got took down, and choked out. And then the second fight was amazing. He reserved his energy, and it was a close fight, but he still won. And he insisted at doing it at 170 pounds. Everyone told him. Yeah, he was like, I will beat this man at this weight class that I shouldn't really be in. And then...
He was obsessed, apparently.
100%.
Dana White went to his dressing room the night of that fight when he lost, and he said, get me him again at 170. Even though 155 is probably a fairer weight in terms of the size difference for both of them, he wanted him again at 170. Shows his attitude, his manner,
But his mindset and belief, I think we can all learn something from someone who some people will call him arrogant, other people cocky, and he probably is those things. But in reality, his values are quite good. He's really big on family. He's really big on the people around him. He's done things that no one else has done, and he's done that through self-belief. And I'm not one of these people that believes if you believe something, it will happen. But what I do believe is if you believe something, you will take the necessary steps. That's the first step in allowing you to do the things that you need to do in order to do that thing. So that for me is the important thing. So McGregor is the first person that will stand in front of Mayweather and show him 0 respect, and because he knows if he wanted to, he could snap his neck in 30 seconds.
That's the difference.
That's the difference. He's not scared. Like Mayweather's tough. He's from the hood. Like Mayweather is legitimately a tough guy, and he's not scared of anyone. But McGregor's the first person that 100%, no other boxer before him, 100% walked in that ring thinking, I'm going to walk through this guy. He believes he's going to walk through this guy, which is insane.
And people will have thought they could beat him at boxing before, but I don't think anyone would have thought they could
walk through it,
destroy him. And because he knows that he's got other skills in his locker from karate, jiu-jitsu, all the other martial art disciplines, he's a true martial artist. So he feels as if he could go into any sport, he said the other day. Similar to how Bruce Lee said, when you go into, was it water? You become
water.
You become the water. It's the same thing for fighting, so he thinks he can go in and own boxing, so it's going to be interesting.
And you know what, I think, say if McGregor fought a Canelo or a Golovkin, I think he'd lose hands down. Like, I don't think McGregor would beat The only reason I feel stylistically is Mayweather is a defensive fighter. He's very evasive. He's got good dirty boxing in the inside. He's elite of the elite, but just stylistically, I just feel there's some hope. Like if I'm putting numbers on the table, I'm on like 80% chance in my head that Mayweather wins. Probably a decision. That's where I stand. If I was to bet my house on it, I'd say Mayweather on a decision. I think McGregor's too durable. Could he get completely outclassed and destroyed? Possibly. We don't know. We've not seen McGregor box. Could he? But for me, I still think if someone's going to be knocked out, I'd be more surprised if Mayweather knocks McGregor out than if McGregor knocks Mayweather out.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Because that's the intangible, and I think he's got probably 4 or 5 rounds to do it in before Mayweather figures him out.
Yeah.
That's my stance on it.
Are you going to give an official boxing analysis on the whiteboard?
Yes. That's the plan. Right, so
I'll let you go first.
for me, we've got the unicorn himself.
Yeah.
Has he got a beard these days?
Yeah.
He's got a beard. If you can see proportionately here, the head size. Can you see the head size? McGregor's hands are like that. Mayweather's hands, these little brittle things. That P head connects. The problem is with the P head, he's got the shoulder. This is real technical fight breakdown. That is very hard to hit. But what McGregor does is he is a counter fighter in the same way Mayweather is a counter fighter. So he'll walk away. This is the worst fight breakdown in history. He'll walk away, but he can fight going backwards. And this is something that boxers traditionally don't do. Because every rule in traditional boxing tells you, you get your foot in, you're defensive, you move, you weave, you bob. All these sort of manoeuvres are all done, and very little of them are done on the back foot. Whereas McGregor, when he's used to a grappler charging him down at the fence, walking back, he's aggressive while evading. That's a unique skill that Mayweather isn't used to dealing with. The flip side of that is McGregor doesn't touch him, Mayweather peppers him all fight and just completely destroys him in 12 rounds. Yeah, just from the outside. And 5 rounds in, McGregor starts to gas a little. But the big thing here, that 20-pound size difference means he can absorb a lot more. If McGregor decides to walk it, McGregor's not a walking down fighter. I heard someone compare McGregor to Ricky Hatton yesterday, which is nothing like. He's not a walk you down fighter in the same way. He's not a brawler. He's a technician. He's accurate.
It's precision, isn't it?
It's precision, yeah. And his timing and his movement is just very unusual. So, although this is a very, very, very biased breakdown, for me, McGregor has all the attributes to be the 40-year-old, one of the best boxers who's ever lived. But would I be surprised on any outcome? I think long story short is we don't fucking know.
I think typically Mayweather's had issues with southpaws, so the different stance. McGregor's a southpaw, so I think that could significantly come into it because usually he'll shoulder roll a lot of people, so he'll defensive like this. People can't hit him; it'll just bounce off or slide off or block. Whereas because it's the other way around, he catches him with one of those shots, or he switches stance quickly, off balance. But then you don't know because if you switch stance, he keeps switching stances, he could gas, lose energy.
So for me, what one thing where I see the way Conor winning is he's more aggressive than he usually is in MMA. He walks people down, but he does it in a counter-striker way. I feel, because what Mayweather does, his disadvantage is he's incredibly hard to hit. So if McGregor's aiming for his head, I don't think he's going to catch him. If he's looking to knock him out, he's not going to do it. But McGregor, for me, will aim for the body against the ropes where there's less movement. Because what Mayweather does, he weaves to the right a lot when he's against the ropes. And like all boxing analysts will admit that that's one of Mayweather's, the only few times he's been hit is when he's near the ropes and he weaves to the right, because he's got that same pattern and he's done it throughout his whole 21 careers. Everyone has weaknesses. No one's ever fully exploited. People are betting, in my opinion, on decisions. I think there's been some unjust decisions. There's been some questionable ones, so don't get me wrong. But for me, I feel if McGregor's aggressive, gets him against the ropes and aims for the body, doesn't headhunt, that's where he could win. Could all this be absolute rubbish and Mayweather just outclass him? Possibly. Maybe even probably. That's why I'm so excited, because as much as I love McGregor and we analyse this, no one knows.
Nobody knows.
That's the exciting thing.
Well, for me, because of the stance that McGregor has, is very karate. So he can close distance quicker than anyone I've ever seen. And I think he won't be used to that, because with boxing you're very much in that same pattern. You've got a set distance. You're both trying to pop shots, but he can go bam in out, bam in out.
McGregor's never fought anyone as fast as Mayweather.
Yeah,
so that's another thing.
So will he hit him? I think if he hits it, that's what I'm interested to see. Because look at Shane Mosley, Maidana, Canelo, big punches. They've all hit him, but it's not affecting. Mosley was there.
Shane Mosley was like 45 at the time.
Yeah, but Shane Mosley caught him good, and his experience got him through those next couple of rounds. He held, he grabbed. So what happens if he does hit him with his best punch, McGregor? If he hits Mayweather with his best punch, does the experience, the 21 years, help him out in that situation?
Yeah.
Does he recover? Does he?
Look, for me, the one thing, and I could be completely wrong, I don't think Mayweather's knocking McGregor out. That's where I'd be more confident in saying that. I could be wrong, of course. With all things fight, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So for me, the two outcomes are McGregor ain't winning a decision in Las Vegas with all boxing judges. That's just not happening against Mayweather. Never win a decision. So does Mayweather win a decision? Probably. Does McGregor cause him some problems early? Probably. Could he knock him out early? Maybe. So for me, they're the two possible outcomes.
Yeah. And what's frustrating, which I've heard this week, is people making crazy comparisons. I think it was Bob Arum. Is it Bob Arum, the boxing promoter?
Yeah.
He compared
LeBron
James getting into a fight with AJ. McGregor has to box. Whenever he fights, he has to box.
McGregor was a boxer before he was a mixed martial artist.
Grew up boxing on the streets of Ireland, Dublin. It's just insane. It's not like he's never done this before. He is a boxer. He does it all the time. Every time he's really won in emphatic style, it's been boxing. Obviously against people that are not.
He uses his kicks. All his finishes come from his boxing. He uses kicks to set up his boxing. He's never knocked anyone out with a kick. He's never submitted anyone. He's ground and pounded them or knocked them out. And it all comes from his boxing. So he's one of the most elite boxers we have in the sport of MMA. So for me, I'm going to go out and say it. I've just flipped reversed. I was like, Mayweather's probably going to win.
Yeah.
I want to believe. There's one person, he defies all odds, and this podcast's about belief.
It's about self-belief.
It's about belief. This guy believes he can do the impossible, which he is doing the impossible. Yeah. And I think the world wants him to do the impossible. And a recent study came out this last week, 95% of all money that has been bet on this is going on McGregor. That's why the odds aren't great for him. When this first started, when the fight was first announced, it was a 33-1 underdog. By the time the fight starts, I think he's a 4-1 underdog now. It'll probably be a 3-1 underdog as more money floods in on him. That's insane. And take that into context, in his last 5 fights, including Canelo, McGregor is the closest on the bookies. Everyone's saying he has no chance, but yet the bookies, because there's so much money on him, they will lose. This will be the biggest loss in Vegas history. The bookies have him at 3-1, which is in the last 5 fights, no one's been close.
3-1. Interesting. Anyway, we'll find out tomorrow night.
We're going to do a podcast where we either celebrate. It's going to be a really depressing short podcast where we just prove them completely wrong, and our very detailed fight breakdown is a load of bollocks. Yeah. Or we're going to be like heroes in the office, because we've gone against every single person in the office has disagreed with us. So Let's see. We'll
Let's
stand
see.
by the sword. We got it, brother.
Let us know who you think's going to win, all 15 of you, in the comments, please.
Over and out.